to another live Q&A with BA and Praise. Let me just tell you, today, you don't want to miss this. Why? Because we're going to talk about one of the most important aspects of your business, which is sales. So if you're a person who you like, I gotta do sales because I'm a business owner. If you're a person that feel like you're killing it at sales already and you want to make more money, and if you somebody that just want to go to the next level with learning the game within the game with this thing called sales, to where you can serve your client at the highest level, not feel sleazy and salesy, as some would say, then we're gonna share with you 7 or 8 different tips to where you could do that and take it to the next level. So make sure you lock in, make sure you share this with a friend, and as always, like, comment, all those things so we get this thing out in the algorithm and help more people. By the way, I know some of y'all like, B, it's not 2 o'clock. I understand that. Okay. We've had some changes in schedule. The good news is we pivoted, but we didn't stop. That's the best part. So now it will be 10 a.m. Eastern on Thursdays. Lock in, adjust your schedule as we have, but we still gonna bring the heat. P, welcome back, brother.
Man, I appreciate you for having me, man. I was waiting for these Thursdays. Yeah, we early, man, and this is stretching because when it's 2 p.m., I got a little bit more time to do what I do, but it's making me sharper, more attentive, and I'm excited, man. This is a great pivot, and God has been good, so I'm excited to get into it. And yeah, just y'all schedules, man, because BA and Praise still bringing that heat. So
Yeah, I mean, by the way, like this, when did this adjustment come? Was it? It was this week,
yeah, this
right?
week, yeah,
It
this
was
week.
like Monday we had a conversation. We realized that we had to pivot, and here we are on Thursday. So it just, if y'all want to get fed, this is the time to eat now. It's 10 a.m. Eastern on
Right.
Thursdays. We will still be here, bring y'all questions and bring y'all sales. Okay. So Pete, I know sales is a touchy topic, right? I think
Right.
there's some that are overconfident in sales for all the wrong reasons, right? The timeshare salesman, the used car guy, right? They wear a sales polo, and so they sales people. I don't think that's what make you a good salesperson. Then we got other folks who just like are anti-sales yet they're business owners, which is a dangerous place to be in because if you don't convert, you can't make money. So we got to help those folks. And then there's the people somewhere in the middle that kind of do it but don't know why it's successful, why it's unsuccessful. So I'm hoping today we can give some definition to why the things that do work, why they work, right? And
It's
if you
good.
do these things, you'll feel better about what you're doing. You'll have more predictable outcomes. And more importantly, you'll feel authentic in the process of doing it and not feeling as if you're trying to force somebody to do something with you, but understand that you're helping them do something that they already aspire to do. And you just so happen to be the one that can help them do that. So that's kind of my heart behind it. And yeah, I'm ready for some questions, bro.
Yeah, for sure. Um, and I know the main gist we're gonna be talking about sales. I do have one question because um as I'm in this season, I've realized that one thing that you've selected something and have gotten really good at that thing, right? So I wanted
Mhm.
to ask you because you know me, you know how I am. I wanted to ask you from your perspective, what is one thing? And after this question, we'll get right into the sales. But I wanted to pick your brain on this. What is one thing that I should just focus on getting really, really good at? Like one thing that I should get really, really good at and master, because that's where I'm at. What you laughing for, bro? What are you laughing? I just,
Bro, because
why are you laughing? I'm
I'm,
trying to get back.
I'm laughing because the question is so timely based on what we covering today.
Mm, okay.
There's one thing that everybody needs to be good at if they want to make more money. That's communication. But I wouldn't even call it number two. It would be 1A and 1B. The next thing after being great at communication is you got to be great at sales in
Mm,
anything that you're doing in life. I don't care if you a software engineer. I don't care if you're an AI specialist. I don't care if you're a married man. Everybody has to get great at sales. So the whole essence of today, I hope, at least starts a conversation to debunk the idea of what a salesperson is. Because you've been selling since you were a toddler on getting another snack, on staying up late, on playing with your game longer. You've been selling since you came out the womb. You just don't realize it. You had to sell your spouse on this idea of taking this life journey with you, despite all your flaws. You got to sell yourself. I had to sell myself to be here today at 10 o'clock. Because guess what? I could have not been. So this notion of like what a salesperson is completely flawed. And that's why we got to demystify this and debunk this bad ideology and inconsistent way of thinking about sales. Everybody has to be phenomenal at communication and sales if you want to make money in this world. Period. How you get a promotion?
That's good.
How you get a promotion? You got to go in there and sell your boss on the idea of as to why everybody's selling.
Right.
It just let us know in the chat if that's clear to everybody so far, that we on an even playing field. Good morning, Pastor Mike, Cassandra. Hello. Like, let us know we on the same sheet of music as we start this dialogue today. This idea of how you identify yourself as being anti-sales, it's got to stop if you want to be successful in life.
That's good, B. That's super good.
So to answer your question, young man, the reason I was laughing was because this is the thing that you need to get best at. Because it's transferable to any aspect of your life. Think about when you meet somebody, how the thing that you're fighting for is common ground. And then what does that do? That lends itself another opportunity for y'all to talk more. That may lend itself for y'all to go hang out and have lunch. That may lend itself for y'all then. Why? Because y'all was selling each other on why you're compatible. All right, they ready to go. So let's get into it.
Man, that's good. I appreciate that. So let's start it off. What is sales? Like, what is sales? Break down what it actually is. And I know, you obviously gonna bring in the scripture, but what is sales? Let's just start there to clear the air.
Okay, let's start with this. Okay. And I don't have like a canned response for that, right?
Right.
This is what I will tell you. Sales number one is the transference of belief. I believe something to be true. Through conversation and persuasion, I'm hoping that you also can see it in the right frame and perspective that you can believe it to be true. Not through convincing you through manipulation. Because if I'm trying to convince you, that means that I'm manipulating things for my benefit. If I'm persuading you, that means I'm helping you to see things in a different frame for your benefit. When I come into your office and I'm asking for a raise, if my heart and intentions are pure, I'm doing this for your benefit. I am a beneficiary in it, but I'm doing this to your benefit, that you got me in the wrong position. I can help you do more if I'm in this new position. So I'm helping you to see things from my perspective in a different frame to help persuade your thinking as to why I should be in that position. You see what I'm saying? As opposed to, I know that I come in late, I get here late and I leave early. I just want some more money. Now I'm in here trying to manipulate and convince you to give me a promotion for my reasons. Okay, so it's the transference of belief. That's what sales is, number one. Number two, it's making you an offer. Sales is making someone an offer to solve their problem, to satisfy their interests, and give them something that they don't currently have.
That's good. I appreciate you breaking that down. Because the
But
trends.
do you get this though? What I'm saying, like
Yeah,
as an example,
yeah.
let's just say you worked in a shoe store. Somebody in the shoe store, and um, they looking at the wall of runners, right? And you kind of like, man, all of them kind of look the same ish, right? Because the design and the only thing that's changing is the colorways, and then it's like, well, which one of these do I get? The sales guy come over, and depending on which one she deems is the best one, they give you this entire breakdown of the type of insole that's being used, the type of gel that's being used, the what it does for your plantar fasciitis. It's telling you all of these various things, the shin support, how it protects your Achilles, yada 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 yada, because they believe that to be true so strongly. They've transferred that belief to the buyer. The buyer like, okay, well, I don't want none of them. I want this one. Like in any application, you could look at that transference of belief. If you're in a clothing store and you come out and how does this look on me? Right? Oh, that look amazing. My God. Wow. It's 1,000 other shirts in here. But that one now is yours. You already thought you looked good, but they just persuaded you and helped you see yourself in the frame that you wanted to be in, that now you know you look good. I'm taking that home.
Mm. No, that's good, B. I appreciate you laying that foundation. So now, since we just broke down what is sales, we obviously gonna get to what makes a good salesperson, but what makes a person bad at sales? Like, what are some of the things where it's like this has nothing to do with sales? Because, for example, like you were talking about a shoe store or clothing store. I was recently at one. I was at a retail store, buying some clothes and stuff, and one of the uh, one of the workers was trying to sell me on some clothes, but she ain't transfer no beliefs. I didn't want none of the clothes. I didn't want to buy nothing. And I had intentions of buying something. But when she started talking, I didn't want to buy anything afterwards. I was like, you know what? I'm actually going to save my money because she didn't transfer the right belief. So what makes a person bad at sales?
So remember what I said, that the two most important skills is communication, 1A, sales, 1B.
Right.
The person that's bad at sales is a poor communicator. Most think of communication as speaking. Communication is also listening. The foundation of a good salesperson is a good listener. Most people listen to react. A good salesperson listens to respond. I'm going to say that again. Most people listen to react. A good salesperson listens to respond. So what happens is you may be in a situation where, let's say I'm on a call with a potential client, and I don't know, let's just say the offer is about selling them on a stock course, as an example. And we going back and forth, and then all of a sudden they get into this whole soliloquy about how, they've been trying this for 3 years, and they just don't really have the support of their spouse, and to their own doing, they made a lot of mistakes in the past. They've started things and didn't finish them. They've lived in the shame of that, and so, but they ready to finally break loose of all that and come out of it. The bad salesperson goes to whatever was next on their list to talk to them about. Oh, okay. Yep. Totally get it. Totally get it. So what we do is they listen to react instead of listen to respond. So I hear that and I say, you know what? Before we move on to anything else, let's unpack that a little bit. Because it doesn't matter how good what we have that can help change your life, all the rest of it. If these are things that are strongholds and barriers in your life, then we got to address that first. So if you don't mind, I just want to hear a little bit more. What do you think systemically is happening that's causing you to quit things prematurely? What do you think that the actual shame is that's occurring? Well, like, what do you think the catalyst to that is? What do you think is necessary to get your spouse on board, or if it's even necessary at this point? Because sometimes God give us a vision for us that nobody else will get until we act out that vision. But in fairness to your spouse, do you think that maybe they're not on board because they've seen the lack of commitment? So the only way to get them on board is to actually prove to them that you're going to stay committed this time. Like, I got to address all of that. I'm irresponsible. See, this is why we teach selling and serving, because it is. If I don't serve them in that way, I'm a horrible at sales. Because if I understand that you have to become the person to do the thing to have the stuff, if I really understand that edict, be, do, have, then how could I be talking to them about having and doing, and they just told me that they haven't become?
Mm.
So now I'm not even thinking about selling you anything. I'm thinking about helping you become the person and seeing if we can overcome some of these barriers in enough time. Because guess what? If I don't, then even if you choose to purchase this thing I have, it's going to be a failure all over again. And I want to sell success stories, not stuff. So the catalyst to being a bad salesperson is being a horrible listener. Because of your self-interest, you keep going down your list instead of stopping to adhere to whatever it is that they just told you.
Mm. That's good. That's good. And why is
by the way, the script should be a hand rail, not a handcuff.
Unpack that more, please.
So a lot of time people have a sales script
Yeah.
and they're handcuffed to it. It's the if-then thing. If they say this, then I got to say this. If they say this, then I got to say that. And that's probably how they train you when you're doing like telemarketing and all those types. Just follow this. If they say this, you do that, right? If then. And I'm not saying that there shouldn't be a sequence by which you take somebody through a sales process. But what I am saying, though, is they provide the content, you provide the context. I don't care what the content of your sales script is. Their content is the most important content because they're telling you what context that they need provided. So working with the framework of this process, you have to be married to the outcome, but date the method. If I need to take a pivot off this script to adhere to what you just told me and then come back to the script, that's what I mean by that. The script is a handrail, is guiding you. It shouldn't be a handcuff that restricts you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. And you were talking about one thing that you do seamlessly is pivot. So in the midst of selling, when do you pivot? Like when do you, what is the key indicators when you talking to a potential client or selling something? What are some key indicators of when to pivot?
When there's perceived resistance.
Mm.
So if at any point, as I'm taking you through my flow, right? So y'all know, if y'all been following, we use the PUDP sales framework: profile, understanding, diagnosis, prescription, right? If you haven't seen that, go to my YouTube page. It's a whole training on it. So as I'm going through this process, if I sense any resistance that will keep me from going to the next step in my process, then I got to pivot. Because until we overcome this, I'm a fool to keep going. That's like just running the red light. If you've shown me a yellow or red light at this intersection, then I got to address this until we got a green light again. This is why we train our coaching clients. Everybody's not worthy. And I don't say that to be condescending. I'm saying everybody's not worthy to hear your offer. So if I'm on a sales call and there's so much resistance, there's so many limiting beliefs, there's so much skepticism, there's so much doubt, there's so many scars and unhealed trauma that I just can't fix and help them overcome, in this 30-minute, 1 hour time frame, then I got to know by the end of this call, I shouldn't be making them an offer. They're not ready for it. So why put yourself out there to get your hands spanked and get a no when they wasn't never ready in the first place? That's casting your pearl before swine. They not ready to take your offer, so why position it to them? That's a whole nother conversation though. But it is, bro. I could do a whole hour training just on that by itself. It's the perceived activity versus productivity. Like, I made an offer today. It's like, yeah, but not to a buyer though. They were never going to buy anything. If you just listen to what they said, like, they got a lot of baggage that they're dealing with that you haven't been able to overcome on this call. Henceforth, they're not going to buy the offer. So now your little confidence is shot unnecessarily because you shouldn't have never put it in front of them. When you got down to that point, you should have said, you know, thank you so much for everything that you shared. And just based on everything, right? Do I believe that we could be a good fit to help you in the future? Absolutely. Right now, though, I don't know that this is probably the best opportunity for you. So, you know, what I like to do is just stay in touch, you know, as things kind of progress and evolve in your life. You tap back in with us and see kind of where we at a few months down the line. And, you know, we'd be happy to see if it may be a better fit at that point.
And with that,
value what you got though in order to do that.
Right. And you just took the words right out of my mouth.
And you also have to put in context that you don't need a sale. That's one of the biggest problems, right? Is you looking at your bank account, you looking at these bills that got to get paid, you looking at your circumstances, and you think because you need a sale that you're going to get a sale. It don't go like that. Matthew 6:33 says, seek ye first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be added. So what does that mean? That means that if I get up and seek to serve my assignment, whoever it is across from me, all these people that's on this live today, I'm serving my assignment. I'm helping somebody change their life right now as I speak. So guess what that means? Maybe somebody on this buy something at some point. But guess what? Even if they don't, I did my part, and God says he has to do his part. If I get up and serve my assignment, he says, seek ye first the kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be added. So if I seek the kingdom and I serve my assignment, then he has to add that. He has to bring the increase. So by virtue of me identifying that somebody is not a good fit and is not the right time, and me telling them that, I'm serving my assignment for that day. Disconnected from whatever my circumstances may present to me at that point in time. So I'm doing the right thing by them and God doing the right thing by me. We get so focused in sales on the through, right? What is this sale coming through? Which marketing efforts is this coming through? Which salesperson is this coming through? As opposed to focusing on the from. So you got to stop focusing on the through and focus on the from. Now, am I going to be prepared? 100%. Am I going to be skilled? 100%. Like, I'm going to do all of the things that I need to do from an input perspective, but I'm never married to the outcome based on who's sitting across from me. Because my increase don't come from them, it comes from him. He just may decide to choose to send it through them that day, if it all makes sense otherwise.
Man, no, that's really good. And you even you touched on it, but not wanting a sale, it's really easy. And even, you know, about where I'm at right now, they want it. Like they want a sale where I'm at right now. They want the sale. Mm-hmm. They tell us like, hey, when they come in, you follow the script. If they do this, you get us. But one thing that I've been realizing as I've been learning more is how to tailor selling to the person. Like how you were talking about, you got to be a better listener. So as I'm listening, we'll ask goals, all those things. But if I don't tailor what we're selling to that person, because for those that don't know, I currently work at a gym, and we sell memberships. So I have to tailor what they need in the gym. Like, so what are you gonna use? Is it, the treadmill? Are you trying to just do some cardio? Are you trying to put on some muscle? Are you trying to, take some classes? Do you need some accountability with a trainer? So like, we have to tailor what we're selling to them. But usually, previously, I just be like, well, it's a gym. Like, why don't you need the gym? Like, I'm sold on the belief on why I need a gym, but they're not sold on the belief that they need a gym. But my point that I'm making is how you said you don't need a sale. I think that speaks to valuing, like you said, what you have. And can you just like touch on, because I know you say it a lot, how you like, I don't need nothing from you. Like, you're 1000% confident in that. Where does that come from? Can you unpack that just a little bit more about you just not being caring about, wanting a sale? You said you do your part, God does his, but where does that come from? Not wanting or caring if the sale comes through or not.
So two things. One, really quickly, because you just dropped some gold. I wanna highlight. Okay.
Okay.
Most people view their offer like a gym membership. It's a gym membership, right? My offer is my offer. So they sell all of it or none of it. The reason why that's bad is because if you don't understand what are the most important things about the person sitting across from you, then you could be overwhelming them with all of what's in it. And
That's
guess
good.
what an overwhelmed buyer does? Don't
Don't
buy
buy.
nothing. Guess what a confused buyer does? Don't buy
Don't
nothing.
buy.
So I need to be a good enough listener, and I need to have enough humility to understand that although I think everything in my offer is important because I put it there, that I'm only going to talk to them about the things that they find important. So I may have 15 components in my offer. If this person just told me, right, to use your point about the gym membership, if this person just told me that really they just looking for a large enough space that's got a screen to where they could come in and do their mat routine for an hour, they don't really touch any free weights. But because you so big on dumbbell flies that you're gonna ram that down their throat, you're talking to them about something that they don't want. Now that doesn't mean that if their appetite evolves, they already in the facility that they can change and start doing other stuff. But for right now, since that's the thing that you're most excited about, then that's the thing I'm most excited about talking to you about.
Mm.
But it takes humility in that because people get so fixated on because they developed this offer and they created this thing that I'm going to shove all of this down your throat. No, I'm only going to talk to you about the things that you find to be most important. And I may gloss over the fact that there are some other things here. Should your appetite change, you already got them anyway, right? You ain't got to go looking for them. So I just think that's extremely important. I wanted to highlight that because people mess up sales every day by just talking to people about the wrong stuff. We fall too in love with the things that we find to be important. When the most important thing to me in this moment is the most important thing to you. That in and of itself will help y'all start making more money. I promise you. If you stop talking to people about the thing that you so in love with talking about and talk to them about the thing that they just told you that they are in love with talking about, you're going to make more money. Okay. The second part to your question about um how did I get to this place of like not needing nothing from nobody? I think it was in 2020. Um, we had hit a lull where we probably had, I don't know, and I could be exaggerating because I don't remember exactly, but this is how it felt to me in that moment. Probably 15, 20 sales calls that none of them converted, right? Some people applied for funding, it didn't go through. It's for a myriad of different reasons, but none of them converted. And so, at that time, I don't know, maybe my offer was 17,000. So one could imagine, right? It's about $500,000 worth of potential revenue. And I just remember my attitude progressively becoming more like one of these got to convert, right? So as the time is going on and these things not converting, I'm getting progressively more in the attitude and the spirit of it's got to happen. And God showed me like, no, it don't gotta happen. It don't gotta happen. And I never forget, I was talking to my consultant. Many plans fail because of lack of counsel. With multiple advisors, they succeed, right? I've had a paid consultant in my life for almost 10 years now, who I use, who's not in my business, so that he can see things from a different perspective, right? I like the fact that he's not in my day to day, but understands the inner workings of everything, so he can shed light on spots that other people that are in the organization wouldn't see because they're also too close to it. So I keep him there as a secret weapon, right? And he told me what I told y'all. He was like, we get so focused as business owners on the through and forget the from. And when that happens, sometimes God has to remind you that it's never about the through, that is the from. By the way, during that same time, I was closing people in different settings that didn't have anything to do with the primary. Like we running ads, we booking calls, I was closing people still, but none of it came from those calls. So when he tapped me on the shoulder and got me to change my perspective, I was like, that's what's happening right now. God is still faithful enough that he's sustaining me, but not through the mechanism by which I thought it was supposed to happen. To just remind me that it was never about the through, it was always the from. And even when it comes through, it's still from. And so from that point forward, I realized like, oh, I don't need anything from anybody. He gonna do it how he choose to do it. Now that doesn't mean that we shouldn't have KPIs and we shouldn't have measurables and we shouldn't have marketing, and we got to put seed in the ground. Otherwise, when he send the rain, we just get mud, right? So we got to have seed in the ground, but we got to be understanding that different fields may sprout at different times for different reasons.
Man, that's good. That's good. And now I want to ask, because you brought it up earlier. You kind of,
By
just
the way,
brought.
is this helping anybody? Let us know in the chat if this helping y'all.
Yeah. So you kind of brushed over it earlier, and you're talking about a framework, and if you obviously don't want to go through that because it's out on YouTube already, can you give us like 3 or 4 keys on how to be better at sales? Because I would just love to hear if it may not be the framework, if you have another 3 or 4 keys that can help us, but can you just give us like 3 or 4 keys to become better at sales, and why?
Yeah. Um, a couple things. Okay. Number one, be confident. Be confident. And I don't mean be confident in your bravado and your persona. I mean, those things are important, but I'm talking about be confident in what you're selling. If you're not convicted about it and sales is the transference of belief, then how are they going to ever be convicted about it? This is why we work with our clients at the Purpose to Profits Challenge and even in our mastermind on coming up with an irresistible offer. That sounds cliche, but it's not. It's very intentional language, because we have to make our offer so irresistible that we have supreme confidence in it. Because that's going to come through as I talk about it. And if I don't have supreme confidence in it, that's also going to come through as I talk about it. Let alone you get a prospect that's kind of poking holes through it because they done been burnt before and all the rest of it. They'll quickly unravel that you ain't that confident about it. So then they're not either. And guess what people that aren't confident in your offer do? Don't buy nothing. So whether you're selling a gym membership, a pair of sneakers, or a $30,000 program, you got to be confident about it. It can't just be that you got something to sell and it's your job is to sell it. It's got to be you really believe in it. That's why you will hear people like Shaq, who I don't know, I think he's a part of over 100 companies now. And he talks about how, whether it be Papa John's, whether it be Cadillac, whether like whatever he does, that it's got to be something that he would genuinely use himself. He got to be confident. That's what he's saying. He's saying, I got to be confident in the product or the service for me to get behind it. You could kind of see sometimes, even when these celebrities, influencers, when they're promoting something and their heart not in it, you could kind of tell. They wearing merch just because somebody gave it to them. It's like they would never wear that, right? So you gotta be confident in what you're selling. That's number one. I think we touched on this, but I think it's still important to talk about is we stop trying to get them to buy something. Like legitimately understanding that you don't need anybody to buy nothing. But you need to make sure that you served everybody at the highest level to where you didn't miss an opportunity for them to buy something. Let me say that again. You don't need everybody to buy something, but you need to make sure that you served everybody at the highest level, that you gave them an opportunity to buy something. What does that mean? That means that you listened well through the conversation. You didn't put your desires ahead of theirs. That you exhausted every single thing that you could have on that call that would have been preventing them and blocking them from moving forward with the opportunity. That you were well trained and well skilled throughout that conversation to where you actually succinctly took them through a process and you wasn't all over the place. Like, you have to know that you did everything to allow for it to happen. But you also have to be okay with the fact that if it didn't happen, that it wasn't supposed to happen. Part of the problem is when you're untrained, you're unskilled, you're not confident about your offer. Every sales call is like going through the gauntlet. You're getting beat up all throughout the process. You come out of it and you like, that's why people don't like sales, because they don't know what they're doing. Because who wouldn't like to help people make their life better and get paid to do it? That's all sales is. I'm helping somebody make their life better and I'm getting paid to do it. Who on God's green earth wouldn't want to do that? What they don't want to do is keep going through this wonky process and coming out on the other side not knowing why things went the way that they went. Now, by the way, that I sometimes, it's few and far in between, but I sometimes botch or fumble a sales opportunity. But here's the thing. For whatever reason that it happened that particular day, on the other side of it, I know why though. So guess what? Because I know why, then I could discard and compartmentalize and put that over here by itself and get right back to doing what I was doing. When I don't know why, that thing linger and it fester and it start to, you take that with you on every other call or every other opportunity and you still all over the place. Am I talking to anybody right now? Let me know in the chat if I'm talking to anybody. Bro, it is the most detrimental thing when you don't know what you're doing. That's why we're having this conversation right now, so y'all can start knowing what you're doing. Okay? So stop trying to get them to buy. They're not going to buy because you're trying to get them to buy. They're going to buy because they see that you're genuinely helping them see themselves in a different frame with your opportunity that can change their life. And whatever that is. And whatever that is. Only sell people the solution if you know that it legitimately fixed their problem. So when we had our real estate mastermind, there'd be people that will reach out sometimes and say, matter of fact, this just happened. Okay. I think a couple Q&As ago, somebody was on here, they were in real estate, and they asked me about tax deeds and tax liens. You remember what happened when you remember what my response was to them?
I remember you saying that you don't even do that no more, but you were like, somebody still asking me about. But I may be wrong. That's the one that I do remember though.
No, you're right. That's partially it.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So somebody asked me questions about tax deeds and tax liens. For those of you that's not real estate, that's a very niched part of real estate investing. That, by the way, I even when I taught real estate, I didn't teach that. We taught fix and flip, wholesale, cash flow, and raising capital. So in a situation like that, let's just say I still did have my real estate mastermind, and somebody asked me about tax deeds and tax liens. I'm not gonna try to sell them my service if that's what their interest is, because I don't teach that. Now, would I take them through a process of asking them additional questions to understand what their goal is? Because maybe depending on what their goal is, they picked the wrong method. They saw some video and just assumed that this was the lane that they needed to go down to get this outcome. This is what I meant when I said, are they married to the goal and they willing to date the method? Are they married to the method? Right? So I still need to understand through asking them questions that maybe my methodology could get them to their same goal if they're open to that. However, if I understand from everything in the conversation that no, they really just want to do that and I don't offer that, then that's for somebody else. That's covetousness. If I'm trying to keep them here with me, knowing that I don't offer this, but then I'm trying to coerce them into what I do offer for my benefit, that's off. I need to have enough humility to say, no, that's them down the street. I don't do that. Do you know how many times I've redirected people like, no, I don't do that, whatever. And one, they've even come back and bought something, or two, they referred somebody else that was a better fit for what I do. So we got to be open-handed, okay? We talked about listening for the purposes of responding, not reacting. Here's another good one. Have a predetermined price and a predetermined offer. A lot of time we get into this situation where all of a sudden our sales presentation turned into a flea market swap. You know what I'm saying? What you got? You know what I'm saying? What you feeling like? What's your budget? None of that matters. I need to have a predetermined offer with a predetermined price for a predetermined person. This is why we spend so much time in our mastermind at the challenge, helping people to understand who is your avatar. There's an ideal person that fits the mold and model of the problem that you've created in your mind that they have, the solution that you've henceforth put together for them to solve it, and with a predetermined price for that to happen. So your offer ain't for everybody, which means everybody ain't gonna take it. Just understanding that in and of itself is foundational. And then if you put your predetermined offer at that predetermined price in front of that predetermined avatar, then the likelihood is that more of them will take it. But people fail to realize for every time that you discount and every time that you modify on the fly and that's not making people want to buy it more. They just watching you go through all that. They want to see just how limber you are. How much can you fold yourself into a pretzel over there? They have you doing the whole dance. Am I lying? For my people out there, I ain't judging y'all. But am I lying? They watch you go through this whole dance, and then they still be like, okay, let me think about it. I just changed the whole offer to do everything you just said you wanted. And then you like, let me think about it. Why? Because if you don't value you, they don't value you.
So good.
If you don't value you, they don't value you. And guess what? For every twist and turn that you just made to modify for them, which by the way, let me tell you why that's so important. This gonna hurt some feelings. Okay. But it is what it is, the truth. When people say they meet like a celebrity, right? Or for those of you that may do speaking engagements. And after the fact, people be like, man, they were so down to earth. You know what they really mean when they say that? What they're really saying is that I think so little of me that I can't believe they took the time to talk to me.
Mm.
So what happens is when you start modifying your offer and your position and jumping through all these hoops for them, they don't value them enough. So they like, you doing all this for me? They'll never articulate that to you, but subconsciously, that's the conversation they're having with themselves. Like, when people like they on a call with somebody and they like over affirming people, yeah, because look at you, you this and you that and you that. They like, who are they talking to? Which is why convincing people don't work in the sales environment, because they don't believe that. Mentorship is giving answers. Coaching is asking questions. Even in the sales environment, I'm coaching people. I'm asking them questions. Why? Because if I ask them questions and they arrive at certain answers, now they're having a transformation because they said it. If I'm talking at you, regardless of how good I'm talking at you, I said it, not you. So when I say it, I'm convincing you. When you say it, you're affirming you. But we think when we sitting across from somebody that we just gonna gas them up and talk them up to where they gonna receive all of this and be like, okay, I'm ready. It don't go like that. Now you can lead them, you can lead the witness, you can ask them questions to get them to affirm themselves and arrive at a new destination, but it don't work the other way. So that's what I'm just telling y'all. When you jumping through all these hoops and you modifying your offer on the fly for people and you bargaining this, and you know what? Just give me that down today. Yeah, just give me, and they still be like, all right. Okay, yeah, just can you send me over the paperwork? Just let me think about it. Am I lying? For anybody on here that's been in that situation, y'all let me know in the chat. Am I lying? Is your boy up here just talking at 10 a.m. this morning? By the way, bro, listen to me. The only reason why I know all of this because I done all of it.
Mm.
What I know now, I look back to when we had our first $1 million year. I have no idea why people were buying stuff from me.
Wow.
Now listen to me, man. I think about this so often about God's grace and just my sheer ignorance that I was ignorant enough just to keep putting myself out there. But knowing what I know today and how I used to sell $40,000 packages, I have no idea why people were buying it. I'm glad I know now. I ain't gonna do that no more. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad I know now. So, did that give context to your questions? I don't even remember what the question was no more. But
100%. I was saying if you could give us some foundational tips, and a framework on being better at sales. And you definitely did that.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know how important it was to, when it says be slow to speak and quick to listen in the Bible, when I thought that was only for conversations, or when I thought that was only for church settings, I didn't know that was a life thing, a business thing, a relational thing. Like, it literally goes to everything you're talking about, right? Because in sales, if I'm too quick to speak, it's over with. If I don't know what you want and I'm just like, yeah, we got this and we got that and we got this and we got, they may just want the first thing, but knowing that verse, like as you were talking, I'm like, this is being slow to speak and quick to listen. Like, I have to be super quick to be like, okay, this is their problem. That's their problem. What do we have that is legitimately, like you said, going to solve that problem? So as you were just talking, I'm like, this is the and you know you're one of my favorite communicators, but it's like you're communicating that verse in like 20 different ways. Like you're like that's the category, and then you're just breaking down the branches. Like, so that's really what I've been picking up to tailor it to them, but to also be slow to speak and quick to listen, man. So yeah, man,
Yeah.
you answered the question by far. By
It,
far.
and let me tell you, bro, it becomes more challenging because again, right? Everybody watching this call, if you're selling something, you're an expert at something, right? Let's hope at least. So it becomes more challenging to exercise that because you already know the answer.
Mm.
There's things that I know you're thinking that I already know the answer before you to ask me the question. But and I'm using you as an example, right? But I'm
Right.
just saying, imagine that in a sales environment where you already know what they're thinking before they even ask you, but you still allowing them to get it out and articulate it without cutting them off. And because I've been guilty of this, right? Is having the self control and restraint to still just let you get it all out, even though I already know from the first three words that came out your mouth. I could just jump in and solve it right now, but I still have to allow you the slow to speak piece, allow you the space to get all of that out for myriad of different reasons, right? But the predominant one is that when you get all of that out and then somebody gives you counsel, you're more open to receive it. Because again, I'm listening to respond as opposed to listening to react. A right thing done at the wrong time makes it wrong. So all because I'm saying the right thing to you, if I abrasively cut you off to say that, the right thing done at the wrong time now makes it wrong. So patience, self-control. I mean, it's the more that you had of fruits of the spirit, going back to scripture, right? Those of us in Christ, we get the fruits of the spirit: love, peace, kindness, joy, self-control. Bro, you want to be great at sales? Just be more like Christ. If I show love and empathy to others, if I'm kind to them on the call, not nice, but
That's
I'm kind to them on the call, I'm joyful, I'm peaceful, I show enough self-control and resistance to listen to them and hear them, bro, you want to get good at sales, just be more like Christ.
that's so good. That's so good, B. People know they need details. Mm, that's good. B, that's so strong, man. That's so strong. And before I ask this last question, any questions from anybody listening? Any
Yeah,
questions
yeah,
from
that's
anybody
probably a good
listening?
idea.
One,
Yeah.
I know y'all got some questions. I B man, once B get on a roll, I don't even want to stop him. Sometimes I'm just like, do you hear what this man is saying? Like, bro, it's
I'm gonna tell
absolutely
you what's really funny to me about this whole conversation is I never identified myself as a salesperson. I still don't think I do, actually, right? But I also don't have the false humility of I'm not good at sales. Does that make sense? Like
right.
I'm far more of a coach to me than a sales guy in the context that we normally associate with a sales guy. Like I'm not great at sales, but I'm good. You know,
Yeah,
and like I understand, but it's funny to me that I'm having it like I never in a million years would be would have thought I'd be the guy teaching sales.
Man, and it's funny that you say that because for me personally, like obviously I get to see other sides of you, right, outside of this, but I don't even know how to articulate this. You sell without even trying. Like I don't know, because I'll ask you a question, or I'm like, yeah, B, what do you think about this? Like, for example, last night, y'all, this is how smooth B is. Let me tell y'all, right? Texting him like, "Hey B," like, cause we preparing for the conversation today. And B's like, "Yo, what up? Like, you good? Just checking in. Like, so where we at? What we doing tomorrow, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, we good for tomorrow." Da 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 da. I'm like, "Yeah, but like, I don't really know what to talk to you about." And he's like, "What are you doing right now for work?" I'm in my head like, "Why is he asking me what am I doing for work? I already told him what I do." So I'm like, "Selling memberships." He's like, "We gonna talk about sales." I'm like, "Here this guy." But me looking in, I'm thinking, right? So this is the difference between, and obviously I love using myself as an example because I think that's the best way to lead. But me, I'm over here like, all right, what should we talk about? I'm like, talk about this and that. And I'm like, dang, there's this and that. He's just like, bro, what are you doing right now? Like, I'm like, selling memberships. He's like, all right, that's it. Like, simple. Like, he cut all the root, didn't even waste no time. I'm like, yo, like, that's how smooth he is, though, because I wasn't even thinking that. I'm like, why is he asking me about my job? But that's how smart and how smooth you do it. I can ask you a question about my life, and you'll use me against me, and I'm like, I'm not even. You just do it so seamlessly. Like I just got to give you props for that because I'll ask you a question, and your question will be a question about what I'm doing, and I'm like, why are you questioning me? Like you need to give me an answer, but then I'll answer, and you're like, there you go. I'm like, all right.
That's
So
funny.
yeah, man,
That's
you do
funny
that.
that you
You
say
do
that,
that so
bro.
seamlessly.
But it's, I mean, it just, I think it accentuates the point of what we've been making, which is the best answer is a great question. Now, if I don't ask you that question, right? I hit you. I say, P, hey, we on point for tomorrow? Yep, we good. Okay, cool. You know what we gonna cover? No, I'm kicking through some ideas. You got any ideas? I'm like, what are you doing right now for work? You're like, I'm selling memberships. I was like, cool. Well, let's talk about sales. Duh. You know what I'm saying? That's a no brain. So all I'm saying is the best answer is a great question. It just always is. That's one of the disadvantages when people ask questions on here because I'm just my knee jerk reaction is to ask them a question. You know what I'm saying? And I can't because it takes too long for it to populate all the things and too much
Right.
dead space. But my preference would be to ask a question like, okay, let me ask you something. And the people closest to me already know that that's the smoke. They like, here come B. Let me ask you something, right? Because that's my favorite one liner. Let me ask you something. Because it's easier to get to the outcome.
Mm,
If I tell you, then that's just something else you got to think about and process. But if I ask you, you arrive at the conclusion faster. Just, prime example, when you asked me what should we talk about, I could have just told you like let's just talk about sales. But instead I said, what do you do for work right now? On a new job you just started. This is probably the thing you're gonna need.
right. 100%.
By the way, I just recorded yesterday a 20-minute sales training.
Mm,
When you asked me what should we talk about, out of self-interest, I could have just told you like sales. Because that's already was top of mind for me. But I asked you, because I didn't know. I knew you started working at the gym, but I didn't know that exactly what you were doing at the gym.
right.
So I asked you, so what are you doing at the gym? You said sales. Okay, cool. Let's talk about sales then. Does everybody understand now when I say that everything is sales? That's my point.
Yeah, man. You got it, bro.
But it's
That's
literally what Mike said. The frame of if you want to get better at sales, be more like Christ. That's when sales don't feel like sales.
mm,
What did Christ do? He asked a
I,
lot of questions, bro.
oh my gosh.
You know what I'm saying? He just asked a lot of good questions.
Leave me alone, bro. You man, that's so good. That's so good. Yeah, man. You make it so effortless, man. Like it's literally a part of your DNA. Like you can't not ask a good question. Like it's insane. It's insane. So when you did that yesterday, I'm telling you, when I just did this, that was my only response. That was the only response I had.
But
I just
watch
face
this. Now that everybody is aware of this, and especially you at work watching these other horrible gym rats trying to sell memberships, it's gonna make you cringe. Like I watch people on lives in their content, and they're just telling people stuff, and I know by the octave changing, the level of aggression, they think that they're converting people, and I just look at it and I'm like, I cringe. I'm like, that's not converting anybody. You're not taking them on a journey. You're not helping them transform. You're just hoping that you got enough influence and authority that you're just gonna keep telling them what to do and they're gonna do it. That's not what converts. You get a couple. I almost said something crazy. You'll get a couple people to do that, right? But if you try to, but if you, that's not a sustainable program. You know what I'm saying? That's not a sustainable program. That's all I'm gonna say. That's not a sustainable. I wouldn't build my house on that. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't build my house on that. I had to remember where I was at for a minute. I'm like, man. So y'all got any questions before we get out of here? Anybody got any questions?
Man, this guy.
Bro,
Man,
you even gonna see in your supervisors that the way they approach sales, you can be kind of like they hella cocky and confident, but you're gonna be like, no, this is off.
everything scripts.
Everything
Everything.
script.
Everything scripts. If you don't follow the script, you're not doing it right.
And some of those people, because they've gotten so good at the script, and they wear the muscles and the whole shot, that they can, from an authoritative perspective, they can convince people to do it. But those not the people that's actually gonna take the membership and do something with it though. You just bullied them into a sale. So you served your purpose for that day to check off the box and be able to put another one in the column. But you're
Right.
not really helping people like that though. It gotta be their idea. When somebody buys something in a sales environment, the best conversion when it was their idea, not yours.
Mm, it's good.
So before you even make the offer, you need to make it their idea. So before I even show you the opportunity, if you had a solution that could fix XYZ problem that you just told me about, would you actually like use it? Is that something that you would take and actually apply to your life immediately? If you had that, would you do it? Okay. Okay, cool. So would you be okay if I showed you how to do that? So what that means now is that it's their idea, not mine.
Mm.
Back to your message on alignment. Who are you aligned with? Reflecting Jesus equal right alignment. Yeah, I mean, who you are shows up in every environment, man. That's why it's
Man,
easier to be one way all the time.
that's a whole nother conversation for another time.
You know what I'm saying? But it's easier to be
My
one way the whole
goodness.
time. Like it that's why I don't You see me in the DR, I'm gonna be me. You see me, like, bro, wait, I got some clips from being in the DR where me and my wife we eating lunch at this place in Copcana at this spot, Eden Rock. And I got a videographer with me, he and his girl, and so they asking us because it was our 18-year anniversary, so they asking us relationship questions, and your boy like, come on, say I'm speaking in Spanish, you know, for the little bit that I knew. But the point is, I'm sitting in Copcana in the DR talking to this young 20-year-old couple about life and God and longevity and all the things. All I'm saying is that everywhere I go, you're gonna get this same smoke, is what I'm saying. It don't matter out of the country, it don't matter. So it I'm just always this way.
Mm.
If I'm selling you, I'm this way. If I'm coaching you, I'm this way. If I'm having a tough conversation with you, I'm this way. If we laughing, I'm this, like, I'm just this way. This is who I am. So you see, you understand what I'm saying? Like, and I want to be very clear
Yeah.
what I'm saying. So when I'm jumping into a sales environment, I'm not like putting on a different hat and a uniform. I can make the offer right here from this posture. I could disciple you from this posture. I can coach you from this posture. We could laugh at this posture. Whatever. It's all the same posture.
Right.
By the way, we having a yacht event in Miami, a mastermind. If you're interested, not you, them. Anybody listening to this is interested. Okay. It's about 3 or 4 spots left. Okay. Let me be very clear.
He said, not you.
This one day mastermind. You got Avatar. You know what I'm saying? I'm just telling you. Like, no, I'm just teasing. But we've got I think 3 or 4 spots left. We only taking 10 people. Okay. And the idea as to why we're doing this and we only taking 10 is so that we can have more one-on-one time with you, specifically on your business, your offer, your marketing, your positioning, your pricing, all the things. Okay. In addition to that, you're gonna get a content pack. Obviously, it's gonna be some dope content. We're gonna be on a 100-foot yacht in Miami, all the things. So you can use that for positioning and leverage for if you run paid traffic at some point, different positioning to get you other opportunities. And then for, I think it's 4 people, David said, we're gonna do a live in-person podcast specifically for you, showing you how to leverage when you get on other people's platforms. So we're gonna tee you up with very specific questions about you as the authority and the expert in your niche that you can use and chop up for different creative and leverage for later. But then we also gonna train you, because sometimes you go on people platforms and they don't get the memo. They ask you stuff, but they never put you in the light to where you can still promote you, your business, what you do, all the things. We're gonna show you how to navigate those conversations flawlessly, so that anytime you on somebody's platform, that you make sure you get off what you need. So it we on YouTube. So if y'all interested, send me a DM on Instagram at Brian Adamson Official. Send me a DM on Instagram if you're interested. I think it's, like I said, 4 spots left. And it's going to be an amazing event. People going to leave there with the ability to make tens of thousands of dollars immediately if you apply the stuff that we show you. Okay. So that's that. I didn't have to change uniforms. I just made the offer right there.
The well of Brian Adamson. That's what I'm gonna call that.
Hey man, you know. But look, I just try to, bro, every day I'm just trying to help people, right? And that's another mechanism by which we can help them seriously. For those that already got a little bit of motion trying to get some, that yacht event is going to be next level. Next level.
Yeah. If you see me on there, don't ask how I got there. Just
Hey
know I'll be
man, look, you know, your secret's safe with me.
Hey man, I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, I know you got to get going. I got to go get ready to do something. I'm sure my calendar got something for me to do. And
Yeah.
yeah, make sure y'all like this video though. Everybody, before you leave, like the video so that when we get done, it'll keep going out in the algorithm.
Like the video, because I got all y'all
I
information,
mean,
so
if it helped you like the video,
don't
right?
play.
Not just for liking it, but if it helped you, please like the video. And again, Brian Adamson official. If you want to hear about the Yacht Mastermind opportunity, just send me a DM on IG. All right, bro.
All right. Yes, sir.
This was good, man. This
Yeah,
was
this was
good.
good. This is good.
Yeah. Go sales. Go make some sales today, man.
I already did yesterday.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't even supposed to. They was like, listen, we got to throw you in the fire. I'm like, man, y'all, I'll talk to BA. You hear me? I was
That
like, I'll
part.
talk to BA. So I sat him down. I was like, listen, bro, I ain't even finna waste your time. You know what you need to do. You know what you want. He's like, yeah. I'm like, all right, let's get this membership. I'm like, we not even going to waste your time. It was like, we not even going to waste no time. I was like, I don't even want to do that. You want me to take you through this whole sales process? I'm like, you want a membership, correct? He was like, yeah, I just want. I'm like, all right, let's do that. We don't got to worry about that. So, yeah.
Out of control.
Yeah.
Y'all see what happens, right?
Get it.
This is what happens.
Hey.
You have no choice but to be successful. That's what happens. You got no choice but to be successful.
None.
All right, bro.
Yes, sir.
Everybody, we see y'all next week. Bring your questions and share this with somebody if you know they need help. All right. Peace.